Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Asmaul Husna, Associate Professor, Department of Pathology, Bosundhara Din Medical College. Dear student, welcome to you all today's pathology session, and this is the second lecture of female genital tract. You know, in our previous lecture, we have already discussed about the infectious condition of female genital tract, and also we discuss about the name of the disease of the cervix, including endocervical polyp. Today I am going to discuss an important topic, that is pre-neoplastic disease of cervix. Before going to the discussion, you have to know about the normal cervical histology of a cervix. You know, the cervix has two portions, one is ectocervix and another one is endocervix. The ectocervix is lined by squamous epithelium and the endocervix is lined by columnar epithelium, and the junction between this squamous and columnar epithelium is known as squamo-columnar junction, and this is also called transformation zone. And this zone is very much important because the dysplasia started from this zone. Now come to our topics. What is pre-neoplastic disease of cervix? The cervical interepithelial neoplasia, it may regress, so it is not a tumor, but it may progresses to neoplasia. And this cervical interepithelial neoplasia almost always start at the squamo-columnar junction in the transformation zone. And this lesion progression to invasive carcinoma over a period of a few years to more than a decade. They do not invariably progress to cancer and may spontaneously regress, with risk of persistence or progression to cancer increasing with the severity of the precancerous changes. And they are associated with papillomavirus, and high risk of human papillomavirus type are found in increasing the frequency in the higher grade precursors. Now, the classification of cervical interepithelial neoplasia or squamous interepithelial lesion. The classification of cervical precancerous lesion has evolved over time, and the terms for the different classification systems are currently used interchangeably, and it is classified into two categories. One is low grade squamous interepithelial neoplasia and another one is high grade squamous interepithelial neoplasia. And the low grade squamous interepithelial neoplasia contain mild dysplasia, that is also known as cervical interepithelial neoplasia 1, and the moderate dysplasia, that is called cervical interepithelial neoplasia 2. Severe dysplasia and the carcinoma in situ is also known as cervical interepithelial neoplasia 3, and this moderate dysplasia, severe dysplasia and the carcinoma in situ also called high grade squamous interepithelial lesion. When the dysplasia is present less than 1/3 of the cervical epithelium, it is called mild dysplasia. If the dysplasia is present more than 1/3 but less than 2/3 of the cervical epithelium, it is called moderate dysplasia. And in case of severe dysplasia, the dysplasia is present more than 2/3 of the lining epithelium, but the dysplastic cell or the abnormal cell do not reach the final layer. But when this abnormal cell or dysplastic cell is involved more than 2/3 of the lining epithelium and also touch the basement membrane, that means it involve whole the thickness of the epithelium, it is called carcinoma in situ. This is the histological pictures of a cervix. Picture 1 reveals normal cervical epithelium that is lined with squamous epithelium. Then the picture B showing when the dysplastic changes involve lower 1/3 of the lining epithelium, it is CIN1. If it is involved more than 1/3 up to 2/3 of the lining epithelium, it is CIN2. And when the dysplastic changes involve the whole thickness of the lining epithelium but does not touch the basement membrane, it is called CIN3. What are the morphology of a dysplastic cell? Or how can we recognize a dysplastic cell? There are some nuclear atypia which are characterized by nuclear enlargement, hyperchromasia, presence of coarse chromatin granules and variation of nuclear size and shape, and the nuclear changes may also accompanied by cytoplasmic halo. And this nuclear alteration and the perinuclear halo are termed as coilocytic atypia. And this coilocytic atypia is diagnostic for the human papillomavirus infection. In case of LCL, that means low grade squamous interepithelial neoplasia, the atypical immature squamous cells are confined to the lower one third of the epithelium, and in case of high grade squamous interepithelial lesion, the atypical immature squamous cells are expand to 2/3 of the epithelial thickness. It is called high grade squamous interepithelial lesion, and more than 80% of the LCL and 100% of the high CL are associated with high risk human papillomavirus infection. What are the clinical importance of this lesion? In this table we represent that in case of LCL there are 60% regress and 30% persist and progress to high CL in 10% of the cases. And in high grade squamous interepithelial lesion, it regress 30% cases, persist 60% cases, and it progress to carcinoma at 10% of the cases. And this progression take time within 2 to 10 years. How can we diagnose a case of cervical interepithelial neoplasia? We can diagnose by two ways. One is cytopathological test, another one is biopsy. And cytopathology, it is called pap smear test or Papa-Nicolau smear test. In 50 years ago, carcinoma of the cervix was the leading cause of cancer death in women in the United States, but the death rate has declined by 2/3 to its present rank as the 8th leading cause of cancer mortality. And much credit for these dramatic gains belong to the effectiveness of the Pap test in detecting cervical precancer and to the accessibility of the cervix to colposcopy and the biopsy. What instruments are used in case of Pap test? This is a Ayer's spatula. This Ayer's spatula is specially designed for obtaining Pap smear. It has two parts, the convex end and the convex end. The concave end is used for the fit against the cervix, while the convex end is used for scraping vaginal lesion for sampling vaginal pool. This is vaginal speculum. The vaginal speculum consists of two blades. When closed, the speculum is inserted into the vagina, then the blades are open, revealing the cervix at the end of the vagina. Now come to the collection procedure. For doing the Pap test, the patient should be in lithotomy position and there will be proper lightening source. At first, the vaginal speculum is introduced, then the Ayer's spatula is introduced up to the endocervix. If the Ayer's spatula is not available, cotton swab stick can be used. Then rotate the sharp end anti-clockwise at 360 angle to cover the full surface, and this procedure must be done at least by medical graduate, and the smear must be collected from exocervix, endocervix and endocervical gland. After the collection, two slides may be made, one for the spatula and one for the brush, and also level the slide with pencil on the frosted end. Then we should fix the slide, and in case of cytopathology, 95% alcohol is used for fixation, and the 95% alcohol is taken in a glass jar or Copeland jar, and then the two smeared slides are immediately immersed in alcohol and are kept for 20 minutes. Then stain the slide with Papanicolaou stain. After that, observe the slide under the microscope to detect any dysplastic cell or any malignant cell present or not. What are the usefulness of Pap smear test? It is used for diagnosed cervical intraepithelial neoplasia, carcinoma of the cervix, many viral diseases, human papillomavirus, herpes virus infection, for candidiasis, trichomoniasis or other non-inflammatory condition. There are 4 types of cell present in the cervix: superficial cell, intermediate cell, paravasal cell and the basal cell, and all type of these cells should be present in the smear. If there are presence of all type of cell, the smear must be satisfactory. So, during the microscopic examination, we have to examine that all the cells are present or not. If there is absence of endocervical cells, or if only pus cells is present and absence of cells of epithelium, or if only blood necrous tissue is present, the smear is unsatisfactory. Now, what are the criteria of a dysplastic cell? Pleomorphic cells as well as nuclei. There are enlargement hyperchromatic nuclei. Nuclear cytoplasm ratio is increased. Irregular thickening of nuclear membrane with notching or indentation. Prominent nucleoli and loss of polarity. These are the criteria of a dysplastic cell. This is the picture showing normal superficial epithelial cell that present in the Pap smear test, and this picture represent that there are many inflammatory cell, mainly neutrophil, accompany mature squamous cells on a premenopausal woman. This picture showing dysplastic cell. This also present the dysplastic cell, large nucleus, hyperchromatic nuclei, and there is alteration of the nuclear cytoplasmic ratio. So, these are the dysplastic cells that present in the Pap smear test. That is all about today, my dear student. Inshallah, see you again in our next class. Till then, Allah Hafiz.